Hi, welcome to the Knit Shift episode 48. My name is Laura and today is Monday, March 28th, 2016. This is a knitting podcast if you're new here, and if you happen to be coming back, thank you so much for spending a little bit more time with me. I really appreciate it. Show notes for this episode can be found at theknitshift.com. This episode's available on YouTube and iTunes, and if you have not subscribed on YouTube, please do. Then you'll see my episode in a queue and you'll know when there's new stuff posted. You don't have to just come to my channel and see if it's there or not. I'm on Instagram as Laura Mahalski. I'm on Ravelry as Yarnstormer, and we have a group for the podcast. If you do a search for the Knit Shift, you will find us, so come on over and join. Today I have for you, I have a finished knit, I have a work in progress, I have a reminder of a knit-along that's about to end and a knit-along that's about to begin, and I have a little recap of a trip I took this weekend and a little bit of a work story to share with you guys. So let's get to it. I have one finished knit for you. Gracie, what are you doing down there? The dog is sniffing around like as if there's something magically food related that will show up in the carpet. I have one finished object for you, and it is my sockhead hat. You can see I have a pom-pom on it. To be honest, I'm not sure how I feel about the pom-pom. It's a lot of pom-pom for this hat. I'll try it on so you can see what it looks like. I also, oops, there's some thread attached to it. I don't know the best way to attach this pom-pom. It came with 2 strands of thread, actually 4 strands of thread, basically two they were each 2-ply basically, and I tied it with the piece of yarn at the very top of the hat. I did like I knotted it 3 times, but I haven't done much more than that. So if you have any tips for attaching pom-poms securely, please let me know. I had thought about doing this hat as a slouchy hat. I thought about doing, I don't mind it on actually. I like the pom-pom on, it just looks floppy whenever I'm being too critical of myself. This is the Sockhead hat by Kelly McClure, and I use Lammy Toes Moon Pie Merino in the colorway Bad Egg, so it's kind of a perfect hat to finish. I finished it on Easter. Well, I finished the knitting Saturday, and then I attached the pom-pom today. See, the pom-pom is not totally secure on there. I don't know. Should pom-poms flop around? You tell me. I'm probably going to leave the hat on for the rest of the episode because I'm going to have smushed hair. But it's really snug. I knit the ribbing with a size 1 needle, and I knit about 4 inches of ribbing, which is perfect, and it covers my ears just like I wanted. And then I switched to a size 2 for the body, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's a little snug, but I think as I wear it, it will loosen up over time. And yeah, I really love it. This yarn is so gorgeous and soft. It's kind of a pale pink colorway. Sorry. Hi, Grace. And there are just flecks of so many types of yarn so many colors, from magenta to black to turquoise to green. It's just amazing. Yes, hello. You always know when I'm filming a podcast. You always know. You always know. Are you going to sit up top? Oh, excuse you. You just have her butt in your face. I'm so sorry. I'm being so rude. There. That's her favorite spot. I was waiting for her to get up there. Okay. So maybe normally she lies down, but maybe she'll sit up. So I'm really, really pleased with this. And like I said, the pattern, I feel like I'm very scatterbrained today. I'm sorry. The pattern is written for a slouchy hat, but I opted to just make it a kind of a tighter beanie style, I guess you could say, because I was afraid if I made it too slouchy, the pom-pom would get too loose. So I don't know. That was my logic, and I'm sticking to it. Are you sniffing my pom-pom? I've been careful to not leave this hat lying around because this looks like an an animal, I was afraid the dog would go for it because she loves to chew up stuffed creatures. Stuffed creatures and Kleenex are her vices. So I am going to take this off because it's very warm and I don't need a hat today. So a little bit of messy hair, but c'est la vie. The Pompom came from a store in Maryland called the Knot House. They had all sorts of pom-poms, and I purchased 3, so future hats will also have pom-poms, I do believe. So yeah, I have about half the skein of yarn left over, which I will certainly put towards some mini skeins and put a square in my mitered square blanket. So I'm looking forward to finding uses for the rest of the yarn because I really, really love it. So that brings us to works in progress. I have not touched my Northport hat, my colorwork hat that I've been knitting. I did not show it last week. I introduced it the week before, I believe. And I'm hoping to maybe carve out some time to work on that today because I really want to see some more progress with it. So I won't be showing you that today. And I have one more thing to show you, and that is a pair of socks that I'm knitting. Sock was this far away from losing a stitch. So these are socks you saw last week. I was right about here, right near the first purple stripe last time, and you can see I have made quite a bit of progress, and you can't really tell, but maybe on this side you can see near the top that I have started the gusset and it's starting to get a little wider. So this yarn, the gray is opal sock yarn and just a random opal colorway, and the striping yarn is Desert Vista Dye Works VSO base, which is a 75/25 merino nylon superwash, and the colorway is Harold's Purple Crayon, and you can see that it's baby blue, kind of a fuchsia, kind of a how do I describe this pink? Just kind of a purpley pink and then an eggplant. And if you are familiar with the children's books Harold and the Purple Crayon by Crockett Johnson, that is what this is based on. And these socks are actually for my brother, who I've seen quite a bit lately as he was in town for some work training, and I pulled out a bunch of sock yarn from my stash while he was visiting my apartment 2 weeks ago, and I pulled this skein out at the last minute, and when I told him that the colorway was, I said, here's all the yarn you can choose from, and just so you know, this colorway is inspired by Harold and the Purple Crayon. And he was like, what? Oh, I want socks out of that yarn. So I was really excited that he picked this crazy yarn. So that was a book my mom read to us when we were little, and if you look at my Instagram account, Laura Mahalski, you'll see I shared a photo thanks to my mom, who dug out some older photos of my brother who looked a lot like Harold when he was little. He just had the chubby cheeks and just the profile of Harold, and my brother was so similar. So so the nice thing is I cast on the toe. A week ago I met up with my brother in Colonial Williamsburg, and I started the sock then. And then I was about, I don't know, here when we went to Richmond this weekend, and I knit all of this in Richmond with my boyfriend, my brother, and my sister-in-law, which I'll talk about later. So it was really nice to knit on these socks with my brother, having a good time with him and knitting on his socks at the same time. So I'm knitting these on a size 1 needle, which is a 2.25 millimeter, I believe so. These are a little, I've noticed that I really need to go on zeros lately when I knit socks, but I'm really liking the fabric that I'm getting on the ones. It's not too loose. My brother has a size 12 foot, so anything I can do to make it go a little faster, I don't mind going up a needle size to a size 1 to make these knit up a little faster. And this really did go quickly. We saw Batman and Superman, Batman versus Superman, pardon me, and I knit on these during that, and it was very easy to get these all the way to the gusset. So that is all I have in terms of works in progress. I've been itching to cast on some shawls, but I've just really been trying to. I've been a product knitter lately. I really want the finished object. It's not been about the process, and usually I am a process knitter. So it's kind of a weird change of pace for me, but I'm very eager to get to the finished object this time lately. So, what else do I have to show you? So let's talk about knit-alongs. The Antarctis knit-along continues until March 31st, which I believe is Thursday. So there's still time if you have a lingering Antarctis and want to submit it for a prize. We have a chatter thread where anyone can participate, and we have a finished object thread that is just meant for sharing a photo of your finished Antarctis. And I will draw a winner from the FO thread to win a copy of a pattern by Janina Calillo, the designer of Antarctis, who generously offered to donate a copy of one of her patterns to someone from that thread. And I will send a little prize in the mail to that person too. And I will also draw a prize winner from the chatter thread. So I will have the prize winners in next week's episode 48. So stay tuned for that. And that brings on the next knit along, which begins April 1st, and it's going to be a friend along. It's a chance to It's a chance to knit something for a friend, knit something inspired by a friend, knit from yarn given to you by a friend. Any you can make it apply however you want. So I have my yarn all caked up and I am so ready for it. I'm using some hand spun from my friend Casey, who is Aspen Glow on Ravelry. She surprised me with this in the mail and I love it so much. It's this lovely, crazy rainbow, beautiful, gorgeous hand spun. So I haven't totally settled on a pattern yet. It's about 330 yards of fingering weight, and I'm thinking about something simple, lots of stockinette to just really show off the yarn. I was thinking about a boneyard shawl by Stephen West, but I saw someone I follow on Instagram, her name's Sarah Hepworth. She just shared an FO photo of something called Lala's Simple Shawl, and it's just a very simple stockinette eyelet triangular shawl, and I'm thinking about doing that. I don't even know if it called for fingering weight. It looked like it might have been thicker yarn from the photo, but I'm gonna look it up after this. But Lala's Simple Shawl is a pattern by Laura Linneman. So I cannot wait. April 1st cannot get here soon enough. I'm so ready to cast this on. So I have no yarns to share with you this week, but I did buy myself something knitting related. While I was in Richmond this weekend, I visited a neighborhood called Carytown, which is one of my most frequent destinations in Richmond. It's a neighborhood kind of surrounding a road called Cary Street, and it is just full of shops and restaurants, and the yarns, one of my favorite yarn stores used to be right there, but it has since closed. But it's just lots of cool shops, and one of my favorite shops is a gift shop called Mongrel, and I never went in there for the longest time because I thought it was a pet store or something. I don't know why, because I have a dog. I would totally go into a pet store to find something for her, but I just wrongly assumed it was a pet store and never went in, and then I finally went in and I was like, why did I wait so long? This is amazing. And they have lots of awesome greeting cards and just doodads, and they'll have these beautifully curated displays. Like they had a whole hiking display of hiking notebooks and maps and hiking greeting cards and journals and books about hiking, and it's just like they just theme it all very well. And they had a display when I walked in of some springtime stuff, and off to the side were all of these llama themed bags. I'm so sorry. Whew. I had a Skype date with my one of my oldest friends today, and we talked for about 40 minutes, so my voice is, I guess, a little taxed today. So they had all these awesome llama bags, and I had to buy this as a project bag. It's heavy duty canvas. There's the other side. I think I love this side better because I like the color of the blanket the llama is wearing. And this is a Danica Studio zipper pouch. Here's the tag. And it's just nothing fancy, just a very straightforward zipper pouch. It's lined with some cool chevron zigzag fabric. And I feel like this is the perfect kind of bag for a sock project, which is what I carry around most of all. So that was my only purchase, and I'm really pleased with it. Okay, so I have 2 more things to tell you about. Like I said, I was in Richmond this weekend with my boyfriend, Josh, my brother, Josh, and my sister-in-law, Megan. And Megan flew in from Ohio, where she and my brother live, and I was going to go to the airport in Richmond to pick her up. And my brother called and said he got out of his training early and he decided to surprise her at the airport. So Megan didn't know that he was there, which was pretty exciting, and he got to surprise her, which was fun. And my boyfriend joined us late Friday night. He is working an internship and wasn't able to get away from work for a while, so he got there 9:30 Friday night. So on Saturday we had, it was a lot of good food, a lot of unhealthy food. We had donuts from Sugar Shack, which was apparently a big donut store in the Richmond area. It's the original location, and they've expanded to Alexandria, Virginia, Fredericksburg, and I think they even have a few in Florida now. But they're ridiculously good donuts, and I guess the way they do it is they change what's available every 15 minutes. So when you get in line, what you might think what you see in the counter might be gone by the time you're there. So they are always refreshing what's available. So the boys got us donuts, and they were really tasty. We went to see Batman vs. Superman, which was very good for what it was, good classic action movie. I did a lot of knitting. It was a very crowded theater, which was kind of fun. And then we did kind of a self-guided brewery tour. The movie theater we saw the movie at was very, very close to a brewery that Josh and I had been to in December called Isley Brewing, and we went there, and you might remember from an episode in December, if you watch on YouTube, I did a little bonus episode of footage from our trip to Texas and to Richmond. And Isley was the one where my boyfriend he played with big Jenga, like humans, adult Jenga. It wasn't just the little tabletop board game, so that was fun. So he played Jenga again, and we played Cards Against Humanity. Isley has a couple really good beers. They had a peanut butter porter, which the Joshes really liked, and they also have a hard root beer called Drunken Uncle, which they make, which was very delicious. So we were there for a while. We had lunch from a quesadilla. I say that if you've seen the movie Napoleon Dynamite, you'll know that one of the characters calls it a quesadilla. So I call it that, even though I know it's quesadilla. Anyway, we had quesadillas from the quesadilla truck, and we walked over to another brewery called Ardent Craft Ales, which was not quite as good in my opinion. They just had a lot of IPAs, which are a very hoppy beer, and you have to really like hoppy, tangy beers for that to be your thing, and they're not my thing. So we stayed there not quite as long, and then we took an Uber over to Hardywood Craft Brewing, which is a very big, much more commercial operation. And we get there, and they had about 6 or 7 food trucks in the parking lot, and the parking lot was pretty busy, And we got lucky when we went inside and had, there was a table right there, and we decided to sit inside because it was actually kind of cold. It was in the 60s and gray, so it wasn't the best weather to be sitting around outside in. But I loved it. I mean, I would rather be cold and gray than be too hot and in the sun. So we sat there for a while, and they had a lot of really good beer. They had a coffee stout, which my boyfriend loves coffee, and he loves stout beer, so that was like his favorite, absolute favorite. And they had a raspberry stout too, which was really nice. So we were there for a while, and we decided to go home and kind of regroup before we had dinner. So we take an Uber back, and we took it to the Starbucks near the apartment where we were staying. We rented an apartment through Airbnb, and if you follow my Instagram, you'll see a photo of it. I didn't take many photos of it, but I put a photo up because it was a very cool, hip kind of loft style building with really high ceilings and just a cool place. So we got dropped off at the Starbucks because we all wanted a little caffeine. And as we leave Starbucks, I realize it's kind of chilly, and I go to pull my shawl, and I realize my shawl isn't there. And I was like, oh my God, I know I didn't leave it in the car, but I realized I left my shawl, which is my yellow ombre, whatever you want to call the yarn. It goes from kind of a mustard yellow down to a cream. It's the Forest Canopy shawl. I left it at Hardywood. So we walk back to the apartment, and my boyfriend books an Uber, and we get him to take us back to Hardywood, which is only like a 7 or 8 minute drive. So I'm really crossing my fingers, and I'm trying not to get too upset because I love that shawl. My mom picked out the yarn for me and gave it to me, and I'm just trying not to let on how nervous I was. And I was also mad because, we were out 5 or 6 hours, and over 6 hours, I think I had 3 beers, which is not that much, so I was mad at myself because I wasn't tipsy enough to be losing things. I just misplaced it. I was the one that booked the Uber when we left Hardywood to go back to Starbucks, and the guy happened to be right there. So I was like, oh, we have to go, and I rushed outside, and that's how I left it there. So I go up to the table where we had been sitting, not a half hour earlier, and I said, I'm so sorry to interrupt, is there a yellow shawl here? And they said, oh, yes, there is. And I actually burst into tears. I was so happy and relieved that it was there. So Josh had stayed with the Uber driver who had agreed to take us back. So we walked out, and I held it up in the middle of the parking lot. And even though no one I knew was around, they were probably like, why is this strange lady holding up this scarf, because they aren't going to know it's a shawl or anything special. So I got back in the car, and I was crisis averted, all is well. We ended up ordering in Thai food for dinner. We were all pretty pooped at that point, so we just decided to stay in. We watched some basketball, just took it easy, and then Sunday morning they had a long drive back to Ohio, so they were out the door by 6:30, and Josh and I lingered a little longer, and we got home. It's only like a 90-minute drive to Richmond, so so we were home by 11. We left around 9:30, so really nice getaway. My boyfriend's working really crazy hours at this internship. He actually hasn't had a day off since he started in mid-January. He works every day, but he didn't work at all on Saturday. So first day off in 2.5 months. So that was pretty exciting, at least to me. Maybe not to him, but it was to me. So that was our trip to Richmond. It was really, really lovely. Just a nice time. My brother and sister-in-law had never been there, so that was a nice treat, all in all. So, and in fact, my brother tried on his sock while we were at Hardywood Brewing, just to make sure I knew I was getting close to the point where I needed to start the gusset, but I didn't have my tape measure with me, so I looked up how tall my iPhone was, and it's like 4.9 inches, so I was using this to measure the sock, basically. So I was kind of MacGyvering it. But yeah, so that was my trip to Richmond. And then the only other cool thing I was going to tell you about was a little work-related story that happened last week. Thursday night was my last night at work before I took off Friday and Saturday for this Richmond trip. So we had gotten a tip that this woman who lived in Norfolk was being reunited with her dog. She had lived in Texas, and right before she was moving back, she's from Virginia. She was living in Texas 3 years ago. Right before, like 2 weeks before she was moving back to Virginia, her dog got out of the yard. And they searched everywhere. They couldn't find it. They were so upset, but they had to move back here. So they moved back here. They never got another dog. They were just too upset about it. So that was in 2013. Cut to 2 weeks ago. Their phone rings here in the area where they live now. And it's a shelter in San Antonio where they lived, saying someone had dropped off their dog, and their dog was microchipped, so they scanned it, and that's how their phone number came up. So they were in Virginia. This dog is in Texas, so they hired an animal rescue group that like specializes in transporting animals to bring the dog from Texas to Norfolk. So we had heard about this from someone, and so we made arrangements to, the driver, we could track them on GPS. There was some GPS tracker. The dog was going to be arriving at the family's home around 6:30 Thursday night. So the night reporter, who I manage, was going to go cover it. And we talked to the owner here in Norfolk, and they were willing to let us come. And then we also talked to the trucker, and it turns out the dog wasn't feeling well, and she kept having to stop to take it OUTSIDE, which is a word I cannot say because this one will get too excited. So, what do you hear? I don't know what she thinks she hears. She likes this perch because she can look down the hallway toward our front door. Anyway, what was a 6:30 arrival became 7:30 or 8, which became 8:30 or 9, which ended up being around 11:15 at night. So we were not going to have the story for Friday's paper. This was Thursday night. There was no way to turn it around for Friday's paper, but we could post the story on the website Thursday night, and then it would go in Saturday's paper. So the reporter went, and I told him, instead of coming back to work to log in, just go home and email me the story, and I can, we did it in a Google Doc, and then I have a work laptop that I can use to access the system from home. So I did that, and it was a really late night. I'm not used to staying up until 1 a.m., but that's what I had to do that night to finish the story and add the photos and the video and all that. So I knew it was going to be a popular story, but I didn't know how big it would be because the Drudge Report picked up the story and linked to it. So we got many, many more thousands of hits than we thought. So, so it was a really sweet reunion video. I'll link to the story in the show notes, but it was just a very happy story. They basically got the dog home and got it to the vet right away because it wasn't feeling well. So hopefully all's well that ends well. It was just a really sweet, happy story. You think about how awful it would be to lose your dog, and then to get a call out of the blue 3 years later that the dog is home and it's found. It's just wonderful. So, and to top it off, there's a whole nother angle to the story I won't spill the beans on. I'll just link to it in the show notes, and you can read the story and see about it yourself. So that was a fun adventure this week, if a very late night one. So I think that is everything for today. I will be back hopefully next week. Oh, I forgot I have a lipstick of the week to share with you. I did a little damage at Kroger last week, and I am wearing, this lipstick is Maybelline, and it's called Rose Rush, and your eyes do not deceive. It's kind of a coral color, and in fact, I'm gonna do a little reapplication because I think it's been coming off while I've been drinking water. So there you have it. It looks better on camera, I think, than it does in real life. It's kind of a coral shade, which I'm not sure how I feel about on myself, but I don't know. We'll see. So I like this lipstick, but I bought 2 other lipsticks that I will share with you in the coming episodes, I believe. So that's my lipstick of the week. And I think that's everything for today. So until next week, happy knitting, and I'll see you soon. Bye.